a tree in nature, a mother tree. It will grow up in some way, for example, and then it will have extensions through her roots to be able to understand what goes around her. And according to that, it will be able to sense that there's a small tree here, for example, or a small bush that is trying to grow up, so it gives her more nourishment. And that is how this ecosystem starts to work with each other. They talk with each other. They found out that, for example, this is more needed, so they give more to that, and then they take out from that. There's always some sort of a flexibility, where always a balance that should take place. Even in nature, a river that floods down, it goes back to the sea. And the sea, when it's, for example, start to be heated, it gives out clouds, and the clouds goes up, and when they are full, they give down to the river. And life goes in this sequence. In our body, the same thing. If you take too much calcium inside your body, the intestine, it will stop absorbing those extra calcium, so that you will not have hypercalcemia, or you don't have, for example, stones in the kidney. And if not, then it will increase the absorption of calcium. If you have if you drink a Coca-Cola, which unfortunately till now the world is unable to recognize this as a fatal poison, then your acidity in the stomach will go to around 2.5, 2.6, which is a huge. And then in this way, that acidity which is rising up in your blood, the only way that the blood or the body can balance that is by taking calcium, which is the most basic structure or element in nature, or not in nature, our body, and it takes it from the bones to be able to equalize that, to make it balance, so that you do not have a pH in your body less or more than the range between 7.15 to 7.35, and this is the only way you could be able to be alive. So everything in the world goes into that kind of giving and taking. There's a selectiveness to what we need or what we don't need, to what is more and what is less. Even when you are eating, for example, if you find yourself that you are full, then you have certain sensors and certain nerves that goes to the brain cell, and the brain stem in your body will tell the hypothalamus that you do not need more to eat, and you stop. This is why you have something like insulin and leptin. Leptin is, for example, one of those enzymes discovered lately, where the high amount of leptin in your blood will tell your body that you no longer need to eat, and on the contrary, you need to burn energy. And on the other side as well, if it is the lowest amount of leptin, it is the opposite way, where you have to eat more and spend less energy. Everything goes on as such. So that amount increases to do something, and then you have an inhibitory effect, and that inhibitory effect goes away to lessen the former, or to the primordial cause, or the primordial effect. Everything is like a chain connected with each other, except man. I just got now a message, for example, from my phone company saying, well, you know, you have to pay more money because you are using the telephone more than you should. I do not call in the phone, I don't make a lot of phone calls. This is not the case, but I open YouTube to be able to understand and to learn diverse things, between quantum to physiology to nutrition to diseases to hormones, all of that. And then I take all of that and then I bring it into a certain productive fabric and give it out to the world by healing someone, by teaching someone, helping someone, writing a book, making a film, all of that. Nevertheless, this phone company does not understand that, or does not even know that, does not acknowledge that. I was working also in one of those elderly homes, and then in that elderly homes, I was getting so little money from the commune here in Denmark, and the communes here in Denmark are not human. They are actually Nazi camps. They have no understanding whatsoever of the true human abilities. Nevertheless, this is not the issue. The issue that I was there, and there was one of those cows who works there, and in these homes for elderly. There's only cows and machines that work there. There's no humanity at all in Denmark as such. Nevertheless, again, this is not the issue. But the whole thing was that you have to pay 5 kroner every day to have a cup of coffee. And then I said, I will not pay because I don't have money. And the cow beside me said, no, you have to pay. I mean, since I pay, you have to pay. But then I say, but you earn 6 times more than I earn. Isn't that enough to understand that I actually even have to get my food from the garbage bins left outside the supermarkets while you simply could, afford whatever you want to afford? But that was not the case. She will never understand something like that. So one time again, what I'm trying to say is that you go to the supermarket and it doesn't matter. You are rich, you are poor, you are intelligent, you have a mission, you have whatever. It does not matter. What matters is that you, like everyone else, have to pay the same amount of money. But imagine a system. Just imagine a system where you come inside the place, whether it was an office, university, a supermarket, a bookstore, anything you want, anything you think of. And then you come with your status. You come with your original message in life. Thus you have your own importance. That importance will make things either slow to you or faster to you. So if you're a rich man, for example, the merchandise will be more expensive to you. But if you are a poor man, you will have to pay less. Imagine if you have some sort of a chip. Though I don't like the idea at all, but just imagine if there's some sort of a chip where you can go inside and say, well, that is my status. I'm a lecturer, or I'm having a research trying to find out, for example, the source of how to prevent cancer cells. And I'm doing it from home. I don't have much money. I don't have much resources. So I would like to go inside and buy this thing without paying so much. And then instantly, you will have the access to do something like that. Now imagine a world like this where everything, because you are pressed now, you'll be able to be given more so that you can be able to be released. While if you have a lot, you'll be able to let go of what you have. And some sort of a balance, a stream could go on. Imagine a system where we can really be in a society as such, but this is why these societies that we live in, especially in Europe, that have no compassion and no understanding to individuality, to the work that we really do, to the importance of who we are, to the message, to the role, to the reason, to the purpose of life that we have. Since there is not such understanding, and since everything is marked and bounded and framed simply by one single item, which is money. That is why people only go for money, because no longer they have any reason to go for something else. Since this is what those idiotic governments and all around the world, not only here in Denmark, where I live here and where I'm gonna go as fast as I can, because this is not a human place to live in. Nevertheless, this is again not the issue. If we can have such a society where you would be recognized from the very first beginning of who you are, what you are, and be understood and believed, money will fall down. Money will lose its power. And another values will take place. Imagine a government that is able to reach such a standard where every single person had a certain role in the society, even if it was still idleness at one point or hyperactive at one point. Nevertheless, if all of that will be incorporated, then the whole society will be exactly the same as a cell, a human cell, an active cell, a fresh, living, healthy cell. Now you understand why we have cancer. Now you understand why the amount of diseases in this world is beyond any belief, beyond any record that ever took place before. Because we are living against evolution. We are living against the natural balance of life. And yet, we try to compensate that by building more and more casinos and malls and supermarkets and packing food into packages and eating more meat, slaughtering more animals. And the world is getting more and more into chaos and more becoming more criminal because no one is able to recognize them. More and more people are getting to be violent or prone to be victims of anxiety, of fear, of depression. And it is spreading like fire in the hay all around the world simply because we are unable to bring in a governmental or social system that could live in together as parts of a very sustainable fabric where we all feel that we are a part of one whole, united goal, that we have a role, that we have a purpose. And it is recognized every single time, every single place, with every single person in everywhere. If we can do that, which I believe is very feasible, it needs trust and trust and trust. And what is the hormone of trust? It's oxytocin. It needs all this trust. And through this, I believe that we could simply come to that state and erase fear and anxiety and depression and suicide and all of that. We can erase violence, we can erase crime, we can erase all of that simply by giving every single person his or her own contribution to the world, to the society, to the environment that living in, without all the time demanding from them to show how much money they can make. Because at the end, all this money that we're doing, all this illusion that we call work, it's not really work. All these millions of people, victims in their offices, sitting on computers, sitting on desks every single day, they are not working. They are only making the world poor. Poorer and poorer in morality, in ideology, in ethics. Making more and more those 5% of the world richer and richer and richer. I can't believe sometimes that we arrived to that stage. I cannot believe that with all the intelligence that we have, with all this amazing art and values and stories and books and music and all the things that we did and we still do, I can't believe that we still live in that kind of rigid, inhuman, unjust social system, economic system. Just a thought to share.